Now we're gonna say, okay, cool. When the bucket and the raindrop collides, what happens? So we're gonna say, okay, when the bucket and the raindrop collides, and we're working with the bucket here. We're not on the raindrop, we're working with the bucket, and we're saying, okay, when this collides with a raindrop, we're gonna say, okay, we want to fill this bucket. That's our end goal, to have the max capacity bucket to put in the plant. Okay, now how we're going to be doing that, well, it's going to be a little tricky, but nothing you can't handle. So let's hit OK, and then let's go into OK again, and then let's go into the bucket. Now, there are different ways of doing this, but I'm going to do a way that I think is pretty simple to understand, at least. We're going to make different animations, which means we're going to make this sprite look differently depending on how much water we have stored. So let's say pick animation and hit create new. Now the name I'm going to select is just literally going to be a ratio. I'm going to say 1 out of 5, which means, oh, actually I'm going to say 0 out of 5, which means I'm 0% of the way done filling this bucket. So there's no water in this bucket. And that's just going to be the normal sprite here. Next one I'm going to make is 1 out of 5. And that is going to be the bucket with a little bit of water. And then 2 out of 5. The bucket with a little more water. And you get the rest. Now, actually, there might be a way to make this so that we can only have one animation. Bucket fill or fill bucket, and we'll have all of these frames, and each of these will be a different one. I'm pretty sure actually there is a way to do this. Let me just make sure that is true. So let's actually go into the bucket behavior, and we are not in the right. Oh yes, we are in the right one. We just haven't added anything yet. Okay. Oh yes, okay, cool. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. Was I changing the behavior of the character? Oh yes, I was. Oh, we do not want to do anything when the character hits the raindrop. I apologize. We wanted to remove this. Remove that. So, okay. Go back to bucket, behaviors, collision. Move the collision inside, and then say, okay, when I hit the raindrop, add water. Raindrop? Okay, add water. So I'm going to store the amount of times that there is water inside of the bucket, which means I'm going to have a number that stores information. So we'll say this number is referencing the amount of water. And we'll say it starts at 0 because it is always empty. When I hit the raindrop, increase this by 1. So we'll say another number, and we just call this increment, and we'll say 1. And we'll increase this by 1. We'll get this number, increase it by 1. Okay. Pretty good logic so far. Next thing we want to do is say, okay, based on the amount of water that I have, I want to make the animation look a certain way, which means we'll go into animation here. We want to go into the filled bucket, and I believe we use the goto to figure out the frame that it's animating. So, I'm going to see it, because my whole thing is, I believe when you go to, it'll continue playing the animation, but we're not too sure. So let's just test this out. So let's say we want to hit the amount of water, and we'll have a number here that says the first frame. We go to the first frame. So we will say get number 1, and this is just a temporary variable. And we'll go to animation, but I believe this is the frame. And then we can hit OK. And oh no, wait a minute. I think it's not, the collision isn't actually, it's not colliding. And I may know why. If I go into physics and I do enable collisions, I think this might fix this. No, we don't really want to be movable. Okay. Now hit play. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let me go into library bucket behaviors. I'll hit play here. Okay, now it does not give us anything when I collide with the raindrop. We will figure this out really quickly, but I believe it's because we are moving it as soon as the raindrop collides with the bucket. So let's fix that really quickly. So that means that whenever the raindrop collides with the bucket, we should delay when it teleports, or when it respawns. Maybe by like a fraction of a second, just so that the bucket has time to run the the fill function, pretty much. Okay. So we're gonna say, okay, cool. Oh, we don't want to move all this. Oh my goodness. So we want to say, let's add a timer. And this is going to start and then run for literally a fraction of a second. Oh, we can do, we can do this. Sure. It's not going to repeat forever. And once this is finished, we will do all the normal things that we would have done before. Okay. Okay. So let us, oh my goodness. Yeah, just let us, okay, sure. All right, and I'll add this up here. Okay, cool. Let's run it really quickly. And we'll say, okay, cool. It has, yeah, it makes it look like it's all going all the way down, which is nice. But, okay, now let's go back to the bucket to see if it's colliding at all. Very peculiar, very peculiar. Now it seems like this might be another issue. It seems like the bucket that is attached to this player isn't actually getting any inputs from the behaviors script. Maybe there's another way to weld this bucket to the player without using this attacher node. And actually there is. There's another node, and it's called physics joint. Now this is, well, this can be used in the same way as the attacher, except it makes, I believe it fully makes the object functional. I believe that is the biggest difference. And we can do the same thing. We can change its position to look like this. Hit OK. And then we could do a flexible joint. Sure. I believe that just makes it look like we're actually holding the bucket. Probably make it pretty springy, I guess. We'll see what that looks like in game. But yes, once we hit delete here, we can hit out. And then, yeah, we can see what this looks like. Oh my goodness. How silly. It looks like I am moving around the object. So in this case, we will need to go back into the main editor, go into bucket, go into physics, and then make this movable, affected by gravity. Okie dokie. I will be paused for just 1 second. All right, I have returned, and we can get back into the work we were doing. So hitting play means, okay, cool. We have the bucket here. We can move around with it. Okay, yes, it seems like it's working. It's very interesting. It doesn't, I don't know, something about this. I think it might be the collision or something about it. But yeah, very interesting. Also, we might want to make the raindrops drop a little slower, perhaps. So let's actually go back to the raindrop. Let's edit it in the physics. And then we'll see, oh, there's density here. Oh, there's bounce, friction. But there is not how much weight it has or the mass. Let's check into the behavior. Let's see here. Let's go to components. Okay, non-components properties. Position, rotation, all this kind of stuff. Well, it doesn't seem like there is any gravity. Let's see if we can change the world gravity instead. Oh, yes, we can. So let's make the gravity a little different. Let's change it. Let's make it, actually, we might be able to change the drag of the raindrop itself. No, we cannot. Maybe here. Nope. I don't believe density it does anything here, but okay. We have just decreased the gravity to 10. Let's see. Would you look at that? The raindrop does fall a little slower. But it seems like we also move a little weirder, but that might be what we want, maybe not, but who cares? We shall prevail. Now, let us test if the bucket does work the way we want. Let's go to behaviors, let's go to start, let's see. Okay, there we go, there we go. It works the way we want, which is perfect. Which means we are on the right track. So I'm also noticing when it says go to, it doesn't look like it is going to anything, and God forbid I understand why the player is moving like, okay, yes, I forgot. Okay, yes, I understand why the player is moving like this. It's because of the movement system we have currently. Although this is quite interesting, we don't actually necessarily want that for the game. So I'm gonna go out of this, hit OK, go to the player really quickly just to fix this bug. Behaviors, and now we're gonna say, okay, when I am no longer pressing a key down, I should not be moving. Pretty straightforward. So let's say, okay, let's get a number. And this says, okay, I want to set the x velocity to 0. And this is happening. So I'll say, okay, get 0 out for the x velocity. Let's test that right now. Okay, it absolutely, you know what? It doesn't work because they're happening at the same time. So I should make a bit of a timer that sets the velocity of the x to 0 after a little delay. Okay. Start. Drag these over here. Out. Well, that is actually, I want to make it start here. Start here. Remove these two. Remove this. And then once it's up, there's a delay between when it will reset the x position, and make this delay a fraction of a second. My apologies. My apologies. That is not what I wanted. Yeah, the get. Okay. I also believe it might be because of the bucket itself and the... Yeah, I think it's... Well, on the bright side, you know what? This can just be how the game is. That's fine. We can have that. That's no biggie. We can keep this here, but I believe it is related to the springiness, I think, actually. But actually, yeah, let me decrease springiness and it'll probably fix the whole thing. Nope, it won't. We will keep this. That is totally okay, and that totally works with the game that we want to make. Okay. So let's go back into the document here. So we've attached the bucket to the player.